outside the NBA. Cavaliers against Maccabi Ra'anana, which is the Israeli Super League team who are in the States to play about a half a dozen cities. They're going to play the Clippers in L.A., going to play the Thunder in Oklahoma City. They've already played the Nets. They lost. But they do this every year. They'll come to the States. They'll play about half a dozen games. Not a great record against the NBA, but an especially a bittersweet time for them to be here in the States this time. So 7 o'clock tonight, you'll hear Cavs basketball. Of course, the season opener is next Wednesday. It's 25th. And then the home opener is the 27th here against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I don't know what we're doing for Cavs opening day. I don't know if we're doing anything. I always like to. We used to do our Just the Tip Off parties. But I don't know if that's a thing anymore. We'll see. But that money for you here in a few minutes. One of the spots we parked, and I wouldn't have noticed it had Gwen not pointed it out to me. We parked in downtown Louisville over the weekend, and next to my car was Kirby Puckett's home plate plaque for the Louisville Slugger Hall of Fame. Did you ever walk that thing when you were there working?
No.
They have these
That's pretty cool.
silver home plate shaped things. Obviously, Louisville Sluggers right there. And they have their Hall of Fame. And I'm not bright. So it took me a second to realize what was going on. I was like, well, Kirby Puckett played for the Minnesota Twins. And Gwen's like, no. It's the Louisville Slugger Hall of Fame. And I go, oh, right. I also forget that Kirby Puckett is dead.
He's been dead a while.
He's been dead a while, yes. I did not realize or forgot that he was dead. But he's a proud South Side native. Went to Calumet High School, South Side of Chicago. But I don't know how he died. Do you remember how Kirby Puckett died?
Broken heart.
He had a stroke.
Some sort of it.
He was living with his fiance. They were set to get married. And he had a massive hemorrhagic stroke. And the surgery failed. And he died a few days before he would have turned 46. Here in the great state of Ohio, they're really laying it on thick on both sides because marijuana is going to be on the November 7th ballot. And so you have your pro groups and you have your anti groups. Now, the anti group, predictably, involve the Ohio legislature. They're trying to foist this pot's a gateway drug nonsense on everybody, citing a whole lot of anecdotes, but with no statistics or information behind it. They just put out press releases saying this would be terrible for the state of Ohio, and it's a gateway drug, and drug overdoses are the leading cause of injury and death, which have nothing to do with marijuana. You can't overdose on marijuana. But they're lumping them in with everything else. Plain Dealer had an editorial about how it was a pro-endorsement editorial. And they're like, yeah, you could make all kinds of arguments for why they shouldn't do it. But there's the financial end of it. There are people making the arguments that it's going to be really bad for kids. They love to whip kids out, but they go, well, hospitals have seen a massive uptick in kids who took THC gummies and didn't realize it. Now, that is a legitimate problem.
Because they do look like candy.
Right. But that's incumbent, as with everything else, it's incumbent on the parents to make sure that that stuff is out of reach. Right?
The kids snoop. I was a snooper kid.
That's fine. I'm just saying you put it somewhere they can't open it up and snoop. Maybe don't, if you've got little kids and you know they're snoopers, maybe don't put it in a cupboard.
A little black lockbox underneath.
Well, put it in something, right? I mean, listen, there are 23 other states, and it's not, there's no controversial reveal. I'm pro recreational marijuana. But there are arguments on both sides here. But the notion that the Ohio legislature says it's a gateway drug and it's overdoses. You don't overdose on pot. But there are 23 other states that have legalized recreational marijuana, and they have not seen a massive, massive spike in problems. That's why the pro-pot movement is pretty much, hey, regulate pot like alcohol. Because people on the other side are like, well. You don't really have a very good response to that. So medical marijuana, yeah, is legal here. And the state economy hasn't collapsed. And the states that have seen a massive influx in tax revenues from this. So you figure I was reading some statistics last year, 52 million people in this country over the age of 12 said that they used pot at least once in the past year. Now, if it was as terrible as the anti-pot people are saying, that means you would have had hundreds of fatalities in this country. I mean, if it was a fraction of a chance of death, you would have had, given those numbers, you'd have hundreds and thousands of fatalities. There has never been a death attributed solely to marijuana. It's always something else. So they're trotting out the old gateway drug thing again. But who knows? It's on the ballot on November 7th. Granted, locally, you will see a lot more focus on issue 1, which is whether or not you are for or against forced birth. So you'll see a lot of yes on 1. You'll see a lot of yes on 2. But the lion's share of that attention is being placed on issue 1. And so issue 2 is kind of, it's in the background, but that's why these people are kind of, pushing harder to get the information out there. But there are legitimate questions, I'm sure law enforcement is like, well, how do we figure out, if you have weed in your system, it doesn't mean you're currently high. With traffic stops, how do you determine impaired driving? How do you, but the whole, gateway drug thing is rearing its head again, and that's always funny.
I think because there's so many people incarcerated for for marijuana-related charges, they don't want to let those people out because it's so much money.
Yeah, but it's not like those cells are going to stay empty. There's always people getting. There's always people. We have a really good record in this country of putting people in jail.
Yeah. It's for-profit prisons. They're always going to.
It's a growth industry.
I understand, but
growth industry.
But why fix it if it's not broken? They got people in there.
It is
right
broken.
now.
That's the point.
It's very broken.
Not to
very
people that
broken.
are trying to fill the prisons.
Yeah, but most.
But that's not a good thing.
The majority.
They don't care anyways.
The majority of there are plenty of people who care. The majority of people who are incarcerated in prisons are not there for marijuana.
But the ones that were old marijuana charges or being caught or
yes.
All those people would have to then be released.
Yes.
And people aren't ready to do that.
You think, well, I don't think anyone thinks we're going to end up, oh, no, we can't have half-full prisons. The prisons are always going to be full. That, to me, has nothing to do with the fact that those people should be nonviolent drug offenses. There's no reason those people should be in prison for life or however long they give. Especially since now, and wait to see what happens with this, where they did this big peer-reviewed study that says that ultra-processed foods are just as addictive as nicotine, cocaine, or heroin. So think about that. That they hit the same parts of your brain as these other illicit drugs. So ice cream and pop and sugary cereals, all these things that are linked to concrete health.
Time. Oh.
But in the scientific community, in the medical, they got to throw cold water on the whole thing. They go, oh, early death and cancer and all that stuff.
That's how they gave the report.
That's how they did it. Yeah. It's all, this study's all onomatopoeia, trust me. It's a lot of, University of Michigan and Yale did a study. They said that, hey, you're addicted to potato chips? So wait till that blows up. Wait till pharmaceutical company, and I guess they already are with Mounjaro and Ozempic and all these, they're trying to find that holy grail of letting people live the way they want to live and not gain weight or whatever. But if, peer-reviewed studies are going to put donuts on the same level as heroin and cocaine, good luck. Because you're going to have a lot of people going, well, I'm an addict. I need to use, if an idea like that or a result like that takes root, you're going to have people imploring their companies to go, I have to go on medical leave. Why? I can't stop eating chips. I can't stop eating ice cream. And that's just as addictive as heroin and cocaine.
That's amazing. Well, guys, I will see you in
right
in about 2 years.
But I mean, again, but think of the implications of the long-term implications of that.
I'm cool with it. What's the long-term implications?
Now, well, to the point where if it becomes a bigger, rather than just on the fringes, it becomes an identified public health crisis.
I really want to be identified with a Chick-fil-A chocolate milkshake.
It's one thing.
It's so good.
Everybody knows that obesity is the biggest public health crisis in this country. Climate change and obesity, okay? Two things that you can't get away from even if you're in another country. But to put that on par with these illegal, illicit drugs that we have identified with addiction for decades. What do you think? And your thought on that is what? You're excited that that's a finding that they have? That
I'm excited if I could get in on it.
Get in on what?
Be on disability because of my addiction? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know.
My addiction to chicken.
He's so ambitious, Bill. That's what I love about Poundcake.
That's why
His
whenever I think of Poundcake, I'm like,
knows no bounds. That's right. Knows no bounds. I want to be on disability for my food addiction.
It's not my fault. It's my disability.
That's right.
You're shaming me.
That's right.
I mean,
you might as well be a heroin addict.
It's the first time he's mentioned any sort of ambitious move economically or in his career in 8 years. So I guess we got to support him.
You do.
He wants to be on disability. That's his game plan.
I'm going to sue you guys for talking about me and my disability.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about the society at large.
You guys are.
You got to get a lot fatter, though.
Oh, yeah. You got to walk the walk, homie.
You have to be
I just
fat
poop it
piece
out
of
really
crap.
Yep.
Nope.
I just poop it out real
You
fast.
got to eat. You got to be eating them. What do they call them? Butt nugget burgers over in Mr. Hero or whatever those are called. I got $1,000 here for you. That'll buy you a lot of ice cream and chips. It's $1,000 from the Buzzard bookie. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
You can leave us messages on the After Hours line anytime you like. It's always there for you. It's 216-986-8903.
Hey, Mike from Parma here. Not the Mike from Parma, but a Mike from Parma. Catching up here on the podcast, another Mike from Parma called. I'm just going to put out a mic signal here to all the Mikes in Parma. Alan, I know you're going to be at the Parma Tavern here for the Cox Out pregame coming up here one of these Sundays. Mike's from Parma, let's meet up. Let's get a great picture of all the Mikes from Parma. Put it on a wall somewhere. I don't know. Hate the show. Bye.
Boy, think about that.
Yeah, I love that.
The Mike from Parma meetup. Yeah, the next Cox Out pregame is Sunday. I'm going to be at the Parma Tavern. I don't know who the Browns are playing.
I believe the Colts.
Hey, the Colts of Baltimore.
Nope.
The Colts
not anymore.
It's Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts. Colts of Indianapolis,
I'll
of
give you
course.
$5,000 if you can name their quarterback.
It's Johnny Unitas.
Wrong.
No
Googling.
Indianapolis Colts.
Starting
My hands are
quarterback.
up.
Yeah.
Indianapolis Colts quarterback.
Yeah.
I'll never know that.
Yeah.
I will never know that.
Isn't it Kristen Cavallari's husband?
Jay Cutler? No, he's retired,
He's been
isn't
retired
he?
out of the,
Yeah.
for a
Well,
long
he got
time.
out. He's like,
And he never played for the Colts.
he's terrible. We had him on the Bears. Awful.
Uh,
I don't know who it is. I mean, I'd guess Anthony Richardson, but I have no idea.
that's your guess?
Yeah.
That's your guess, Anthony Richardson. How would you even know that name?
Because he's a football player.
From where? How long? What? Tell me how you know.
I mean, is that right?
It is right, but
All right, well, you wanted to know who it was.
I know who it is. I knew who it was.
Yeah.
But he's out currently. I don't know if he's going to be back for the Browns game. So it's currently Gardner.
Well, then
Minshew.
who's the who?
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I ordered from Thai Spice. Oh.
If you want something very medium, that's what you get.
Sergeant T has a great point. No disability for Cody until he becomes ton cake.
There you go.
He wants to
make
be
those
on.
rules.
He wants to be on my 600-pound life.
Nope, you guys don't get to make those rules. My
No,
condition
no,
is
we won't. But the governing bodies will.
my condition is I can eat everything I want, be on disability, and I still am not fat. That's my disability. You don't know what.
Wait, the disability is what? See, I don't know anything about people on. I know there's a lot of people on disability. It seems like it's real easy to get on, but I don't know what the criteria are. I don't know how stringent a situation to get on that kind of, like you go, oh, I had a toe amputated. Like, is that enough? I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the process of it.
I don't know either. I've never been on it.
But you're going to want to figure that out if your goal is to get on disability. Your goal.
Ask around.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure if your issue is an addiction, that probably doesn't qualify for disability.
What if
I don't think there's people on disability that go,
I'm
oh,
addicted
I'm
to
a heroin.
face white boys.
Yeah,
It's my disability.
that's your own problem. They're not going to pay you for that.
It's my kryptonite. I just know how to get over it.
Skeleton face white boys. They got him again.
They need to get
Especially if they show up holding a pint of Mitchell's.
I would totally do a show about that. My strange addiction. I cannot stop lusting over skeleton face.
My
white boys.
strange sex addiction.
They look on my wall. It's just the pictures from the Jared Kushner book. And it's just like, Jared Kushner, he's the cream of the crop.
Oh, man. Cody Brown is a radio personality from Ohio who can't stop having sex with pasty-faced white boys, skeleton-faced white boys.
They call me Kirby on the block. You know why?
Kirby on the block. He gets a boner when Voldemort shows up in the Harry Potter movies.